Too many gardeners think adding more fertilizer or tweaking watering schedules will fix root rot, and honestly, that's why it keeps coming back. I've seen it in raised beds, backyard plots, and even hydroponic systems. Plants wilt, leaves yellow, and roots rot despite every effort. The real problem isn't nutrients, it's water management. Vikings solved that problem centuries ago, and their drainage principles are still the smartest, most reliable solution you can apply today. The Vikings understood water flows, not just soil. When I started studying historic drainage methods, I realized something modern gardeners overlook. The Vikings didn't just dig ditches, they engineered systems that moved water away from roots while keeping soil aerated. Excess water kills roots because it starves them of oxygen, even if the soil looks moist on top. That's why raised beds alone don't always help. If water pools at the bottom or moves slowly, root rot still occurs. The lesson managing water is about direction, speed, and soil contact, not just adding gravel or raising beds arbitrarily. You need a layered system that separates water from soil. The Viking method starts with layers. Bottom layer is coarse material, gravel, broken stone, or river rock. I use about 5 to 8 centimeters in a standard backyard raised bed. This isn't just drainage, it prevents soil compaction at the base and allows oxygen to circulate around roots. Above that, a thin layer of coarse sand or fine gravel creates a transition that keeps soil from washing into the bottom layer. On top of that, your prepared soil mix goes in. I've tested this across raised beds and in-ground plots. Beds with a layered base never suffered the slow saturation that triggers root rot. Soil might get wet on top, but roots stay oxygenated. In hydroponic setups with media beds, the principle is the same. Coarse aggregate below, fine media above, water flows evenly without stagnation. Slope and alignment are more important than depth. Many gardeners assume root rot is solved by deep beds. Depth helps, but slope is critical. Vikings designed beds, gardens, and homesteads to follow natural contours. I apply the same in my backyard garden. Beds are aligned with a subtle slope of about 1 to 2 centimeters per meter toward a drainage outlet or a catchment trench. That small angle doesn't look dramatic, but it prevents waterlogging in heavy rains. I've measured root oxygen levels and found a 30 to 40% improvement in sloped beds versus flat beds of the same depth. Layer materials with intention, not just bulk. The mistake most gardeners make is dumping gravel under soil and expecting magic. Particle size matters. Large stones at the bottom keep channels open. Fine sand above prevents soil from washing down. If you reverse that, you either trap water in soil or suffocate roots. I use stones about 2 to 5 centimeters for the bottom layer and sand with grains about 1 to 3 millimeters above that. This combination mimics Viking techniques, coarse drainage plus a transitional filter. For smaller raised beds, scale down proportionally. A 1.2 meter bed uses roughly a 5 to 7 centimeter gravel layer, 1 to 2 centimeters of coarse sand, then soil. No more, no less. One of the most overlooked lessons is that oxygen availability determines root health more than soil moisture percentage. Roots can tolerate fluctuations if oxygen is present. Roots die fast in saturated soil. The Viking system prevents saturation naturally. I water normally on top, but roots remain healthy because excess water drains quickly. In hydroponics, this principle guides media choice and drainage channels. Poor drainage in media beds is a root rot factory. Even with perfect nutrient mixes, stagnant zones kill plants. You can combine Viking drainage with modern amendments. I incorporate biochar lightly into the top soil layer, about 5% by volume, to increase water holding capacity without creating compaction. Vermicompost on top feeds plants while maintaining aeration. The Viking layer below ensures that any excess water never reaches the roots long enough to cause rot. The result is fast-draining, nutrient-rich soil that thrives under stress. Consistent inspection beats reactive fixes. Even with perfect drainage, root rot can creep in if debris clogs flow. Vikings maintain channels and beds actively, removing debris and pruning roots carefully. I've applied the same principle: check beds weekly, clear fallen leaves, and make sure water outlets remain unobstructed. A small blockage can undo months of good layering. In hydroponics, cleaning media surfaces and ensuring tubing is unobstructed follows the same logic. Raised beds aren't magic without drainage. Raising soil is often sold as a cure-all. It's only part of the solution. I've built 60-centimetre high beds without proper layering or slope, and roots still rotted during wet periods. Proper Viking-style layering and slope outperformed any raised bed height. Depth helps for volume and root spread, but drainage is the real variable that determines survival. Hydroponic adaptation requires careful mimicry of gravity. In hydroponic NFT or media-based systems, stagnant nutrient solution kills roots the same way saturated soil does. I apply the Viking principle by creating slight gradients in media beds or channeling overflow strategically. Even in vertical towers, spacing media to prevent pooling at the base is critical. Roots stay healthy when water moves consistently, oxygen remains accessible, and channels are unclogged. That's the same logic Vikings used in soil gardens, just translated to modern systems. Long-term soil improvement reinforces drainage. This system doesn't just prevent root rot for one season. Over years, soil develops natural structure, aggregates, and worm channels that enhance drainage further. I've seen beds built this way self-correct after storms. Soil settles, roots grow deep, and microbial life thrives. The initial layer of stones and sand might seem artificial, but it encourages soil to mimic itself naturally over time. Why most modern advice is misleading. Many guides suggest chemical drenches or synthetic fungicides as the solution. That's treating the symptom, not the cause. Root rot is about oxygen starvation. You can spray endlessly, but if water pools at the base of the bed, roots continue dying. The Viking drainage approach addresses the root cause permanently. Fungicides are a crutch, not a solution. Start small, scale up, but don't skip the basics. I advise gardeners to test one bed first. Lay stones, sand and soil in layers. Slope it properly, and plant heavy feeders. Observe how water moves after irrigation or rainfall. Within a season, you'll notice better root structure, fewer wilted leaves, and healthier growth overall. Once it works, expand to all beds. Even small-scale applications prevent serious losses and teach the principles before committing to the whole garden. The results are dramatic, not theoretical. After applying this system, I stopped losing tomatoes and peppers to root rot. Carrots and beets grew straighter because water never pooled. Even hydroponic basil and lettuce thrived in media beds, adapted with the same layered drainage concept. The principle is universal. Give roots oxygen, remove excess water, and manage flow intentionally. Why serious growers need this approach? If you're serious about productivity and not just aesthetics, controlling root environment is everything. Fertilizers, sprays, and irrigation schedules can't compensate for chronic waterlogging. The Viking drainage system eliminates the core problem and creates soil that responds predictably season after season. If this kind of experience-driven approach helps you grow stronger, healthier plants, subscribe to the Husbandry YouTube channel and share this video with fellow gardeners struggling with root rot. Better gardens start with better drainage, and understanding how Vikings managed water centuries ago will save you time, frustration, and failed crops for decades to come.